committee meeting. It's March 8th, and we will begin the meeting at 6:04, joined by Mr. Flynn and Mr. Vaccaro. Move to item number 2, any comments, suggestions, petitions by residents?
Darrell Cook, 506 South Walnut Street. I'll request permission to have the street tree on my property removed. Thank you.
I'm sorry, could you repeat your address again?
506 South Walnut.
Thank you. Hearing no other comments or suggestions, move to item number 3, discussion items. Might give the monthly report.
Good evening. Sean Mitchell, the superintendent, Goose Creek Wastewater Plant. Just to give you an update on both plants, at Taylor Run, the tertiary filter system construction has begun. There has been a large amount of pipe put in the ground and above ground. At this time, they're just waiting on parts as everything else. Some things are back ordered. So they're a little bit ahead of schedule, but now they're in a stall for a little bit. So they're trying to keep that going. Taylor Run's NPDES permit, their discharge permit is up at the end of May. That application process is in progress right now. Over the past 2 months, the employees inspected, rebuilt a utility water pump, Super-Nate pump, along with replacing shower eye wash station in the plant. Personnel-wise, they had our lab tech, Larry Zeisler, retire after 25 years of service to the borough. His last day is actually this Friday, and we had an operator resign. For Goose Creek, the staff started the removal and inspection of our sulfur dioxide mixer, rebuild and reinstall. Reinstall will take place when we receive parts. We're waiting on a gear to be rebuilt. Roots blower was taken offline, torn down, inspected, and replaced, as well as 2 mono pumps. We investigated and repaired an electrical problem in the headworks section. The copper lines in our plant were replaced by fiber optic and at one of our pump stations, but we found a quick problem where we found when the power goes out, it's like a computer, the computer goes out. So we had to doctor it so if the power goes out, it still calls, we can respond. Everything was fixed within a day with no problems. The Davis property remediation project, we are waiting for approval from PECO so they can put a tank on top of a piece of ground that has a gas line underneath it. So we want PECO to say, yes, you can put it there. If there's an emergency, it's on them, not on us. And for a final personnel for us, Goose Creek, we had Paul Tucci, our maintenance foreman. He retired at the end of June after 38 years of service. And we had a resignation of one of our operators. His last day is this Friday. We had one operator start and another one starting soon.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Any questions from council? We will move to the action items. Number 4, 4A, parcel 112-167, 423 College Avenue, Arcochi. This is for the approving stormwater easements for the pipe replacement project. I think we could probably take all 3 of these at once. Number 2 is 516 Spring Grove Lane, and then 317 East Marshall Street. Any public comment? You want to speak to this?
Al Venatelli. These are for two pipe replacement projects that we had significant damage from the Ida storm. And both are CMP pipes that are deteriorated and need to be replaced. The first is at College Avenue. And that one actually includes two easements, the Markachi easement and the Markoski easement. I want to make sure I got that right. And then the other easement is for 317 East Marshall Street. That's actually for a pipe that is from an inlet in the roadway and goes through the person's side yard to their rear yard. And right now it's causing erosion in their side yard and is also possibly undermining their foundation. So it's an urgent matter that we need to address.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any objections, council? Being none, we'll move to item B, approved wastewater bids. Number one, supply and delivery of soda ash for 1-year contract to Univar Solutions for $81,060.
Yes, we are wishing you would grant the approval of this bid for the 81,000. It's actually up $30.30 from last year. We do like to do this 1 year at a time because this price will fluctuate sometimes. I don't see in the near future it going down, but so we usually lock this in from April 1st to April 1st and go that way.
Thanks. Only a $30 increase over a year. That's about the lowest anything has increased over the
Well,
last.
it's $30 a ton, but yes.
Council? Rio, yep. Number two, supply and delivery of aluminum chloride hydroxide sulfate, a 2-year contract to Usalco Inc. for $149,000, $149,050.
This one is used over at Taylor Run. Their creek is a phosphorus-driven stream. The aluminum is injected in to remove the phosphorus. Right now, we want to lock this into a 2-year bid because the price has already increased 3 times within the last 6 months and has never been lowered. So we want to lock in for 2 years thinking that they're going to keep raising it and raising it. It is a very limited. It's been a long test with this, and this is the one that really works for the plant. So we want to go in with this one. Plus with what we're looking at with the tertiary filter system, once that gets online, the goal is everything with it that we would actually lower the use of this aluminum so the phosphorus would be removed, but then it would be also more removable. You'd be purchased happens with the new filter system. So the cost we're projecting to go down with the amount of usage with it.
Thanks. And if I understood correctly, this is the only supplier, which is why there's just the one.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Thank you very much. Council, any objections? Rizzo? Okay, that item C will approve the February 2022 meeting minutes. Rio. And with that, we will need final comments.
Mr. McCoy, Bernie Flynn, 6th Ward. Question for the borough manager. The status of the sewer line running from the private resident, I believe is either on Walnut Street. What's the status of that situation? Because now it's been 4 months, 5 months since we've seen the fella.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I like to think it's a bit of a success story. We were able to meet and come to an agreement where the borough would share some of the cost with the property owner because there was a potential dispute there. We settled and agreed to go with a contractor that was going to do a little bit more plumbing work that he needed done on his property and also repair the connection of the private main to the sewer. A permit has been applied, street opening permit and plumbing permit. We don't have a start date for the work yet. but once it's inspected, we'll make sure it meets our codes, and the road will be cold patched and repaired, the trench restored, the road will be cold patched and repaired. And that roadway is going to be on your 2022 paving schedule. So that's the plan going forward. And you know, I really thank Al for helping me out with that one, and other people in the borough helping, and Kevin Gore helping me out with that one.
The opening of the street, is that our portion that we're going to absorb? Or are we actually contributing funding to the connection?
Overall project cost is a little north of $11,000, and we agreed to settle by splitting the cost. And we were able to monetize the road repaving in that costs. And I think we're getting a better deal on the borough's side on that one, because we're including that with all of the paving that's going to be done in the borough. So we're getting a much better unit cost for the paving in that instance. And with the solution with the contractor he's chosen, he's actually getting a better plumbing solution too. So, but in theory, we decided to split costs down the middle so that it wouldn't develop into a dispute or potential, litigation.
Thank you, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, with that, we will.
I got
adjourn the meeting.
one matter I just want to bring to the committee's attention. My apologies. On an annual, we have a very active, environmentally conscious community group that is called I'm blanking on the name. Green Team? Sorry. No, the Westchester Green Team. My apologies for that one. And they have done in past years a Goose Creek cleanup where they've summoned volunteers to come and spend part of their Saturday morning removing debris, easy to remove debris from Goose Creek, putting it in garbage bags, and then Public Works comes around, picks up the garbage bags, and that's disposed of. So they are planning to do that on March 26th this year, which is a few weeks away. They're advertising that and going to handle the volunteer coordination. And what they need from the borough is access to bathrooms at the Public Works facility, just an agreement that they can come and meet there in the parking lot. And then at the end of their cleanup, that we have somebody on duty who can go around and with a trash truck and pick up the bag debris. So in the past, Borough Council has weighed in on this and approved it. We discussed all the details in great detail with this group and with Public Works, and we can provide you an outline for discussion next week.
Mr. McCoy, some background for you. The Goose Creek starts behind West Goshen and wiggles its way underground until it gets all the way down to Greenfield, all the way down by the university, by Rosedale Avenue. Most of our bigger parks that have restrooms are electronic doors that we can automatically open, and shut at a moment's notice. At Greenfield, Public Works is going to have to go there and turn the water on because it's winter time. And we have to pray that, we don't get a very, very hard frost to break the water pipes for the 26th of March. And during the season, bathrooms are always open at Greenfield, and they clean them on a daily basis down there to keep them fresh and clean for everybody. But most of the trash that is really in Goose Creek is down Franklin Avenue and whips around by Greenfield, down there by Sodomer, by the train tracks down that way. So that's where they spend most of their time. So.
Thanks, appreciate the background. I should only have no objection to what they're proposing. Appreciate the group stepping forward to volunteer to do the cleanup. With no other items, we'll adjourn the meeting at 6:19. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.